Hello and welcome. So if you're watching this video on YouTube, please press the subscribe button. That totally helps me out. And let's see, we are going to do a Vinyasa practice today. We're going to mix it up a little bit, and it's really just a practice designed to really focus in on the movements that we're doing versus maybe everything else going on around you. So we will work we'll practice in a circle for part of it. And what you might want for your practice is a blanket, a bolster, and some blocks. All right, so just come to a seat. I'm on my shins to start. You could also do cross-legged. I just feel really tight. This feels better for me. You can also have your sits bones up on a block between your feet. Okay, close your eyes. And let your hands just rest on your thighs or in your lap. Forehead soft. Space between the brows relaxed. Relax your jaw. And let your shoulders soften down away from your ears. And then whatever point of your body is touching down on your mat, just bring your attention to that spot. Notice the connection between your body and the earth or your mat. And take this few moments to drop in. Tune into your breath, body. And just focus on the sensation of the breath entering and exiting your lungs. After your next exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart space. Inhale deeply. Exhale, release. And let the hands relax down, open the eyes, and come to downward facing dog. Fingers spread nice and wide. The best way to find your dog, the length of the dog, is go ahead, come forward to a plank. So your hips are lifted, the front of your pelvis lifts up toward your heart. And then just keep pressing down into your first finger. You could even bend your knees a little bit and lift your tailbone up, bringing a curve back into the lumbar spine or an arch. And then straighten the arms, lift the hips, take the heels down toward your mat. You can notice that mine are not touching. If your heels are touching, you might have your feet a little too close to the hands. You don't want the back to round. You want to keep that natural curve. 3 more rounds of breath here. Inhale, lift the heels high. Exhale, bend your knees, look ahead. And then make your way, top of the mat, fold. Many steps, lightly hop. Hands can be down on a block to start, so we want to always bring the floor to us. Think of the blocks as extension of your arms or your legs.
You could have a little micro bend in the knees. Lift your tailbone slightly up toward the ceiling. Draw the belly toward the back body. Let the head just hang. Jaw is soft. Good. Now walk your hands up the front side of your body, nice and slow. And come to standing. Just roll the shoulders up and back. Okay, so now we'll get into a couple circles. Root down into your feet. So root your feet down into the mat. So 4 corners of your feet. You can lift the toes up, spread them nice and wide, and then let them come back down. On your next inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Palms might touch. You can even take a little back bend here. Lift up from the sternum. Inhale. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, fold. Nice flat back as you come all the way down, touch the earth. And let your head drop. Walk your hands forward. Maybe they come to blocks. Nice long spine. And then bend the knees. Take your hands down to the mat and step your right foot way back to a low or runner's lunge. And you could take the hands on blocks here. As you inhale, let the pelvis dip down and the back knee might hover right over the mat. And then notice what's happening with the upper body. So we want the scapula drawing down, head to arm bones back. And then from here, straighten your front leg and bow to your ability so that back heel could stay lifted. Press down into the big toe mounds of both feet. On an inhale, come back through the lunge. Front knee is square, back knee might hover. Let the pelvis be nice and heavy, scapula squeeze toward each other. And then straighten and bow. A little faster. Bend the front knee, inhale, chest is bright. Exhale, straighten and bow. Come forward, inhale. Exhale, straighten and bow. Bend the front knee. Maybe ditch the blocks. Take your hands all the way down to the mat and then step back, downward facing dog. Big breath in. Big breath out. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, step the foot forward between the hands and then walk your hands over to the right side. So now you're in a straddle forward bend, pressing down into the outer edges of the feet. And lifting up through the tailbone, thinking about your inner thighs spinning in toward each other and back. And then just let the head hang. So this one's going a little bit slower just because we're still warming up our body. Walk your hands all the way to the back of your mat. Plant the hands down. Step to downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, bring the knees down and slowly lower to your belly. Untuck the toes so legs are nice and wide. Lift the armpits up toward the ears and then roll the head of the arm bones up and back. Little bend in the elbows. And pick up the belly a little bit toward your spine. Maybe you go a little side to side. And then come back down. Tuck toes downward, facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, step the foot through your hands, runner's lunge, and then walk the hands over to the right. Straddle forward bend, Couple rounds of breath. You could transfer some weight to the balls of the feet. Walk your hands all the way to the front of the mat. So now your right knee is forward, and we'll start this little vinyasa here. So inhale, we'll lift the chest, let the back knee dip down, and then exhale, straighten and bow. Come back through the lunge, bend the front knee. Let the chest be bright. Back knee might kind of hover over the mat. And then straighten your front leg and bow. Come back through your lunge. Big breath in. Exhale, straighten. Come back to the lunge. Inhale. Exhale, straighten. Lunge. Maybe ditch the blocks. Plant the hands down. Step back. Plank. Fingers spread wide. Inhale, shift forward. Knees might come down. Exhale to the belly. Lift the armpits toward the ears. Head of arm bones go back. Scapula squeezes toward the spine and slides down your back so the back is broad. Legs are nice and wide. Belly button draws up. Continuing to take those head of arm bones back. It's so easy to have them come forward, especially when we're not super flexible there. And then come back down to the belly. Tuck toes downward. Facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step the foot through the hands. This time, take your left hand down on the mat or a block and reach your right arm up to the sky for a twist. Let the left side of the pelvis move toward the midline so that you can find more opening in the chest. Squeeze your scapula together. And let that right side chest really open up. Take your right hand down on the mat, left heel down. Now walk your hands to the middle of your mat. Let your head hang. And then take them all the way to the back of the mat. And back knee is lifted. Plant the hands down, step back, plank. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, come down to your belly. Inhale. Shoulders lift toward the ears and then the head of the arm bones. Come back to the back body. Come back down. Downward facing dog, tuck the toes. Inhale, lift your right leg up. Exhale, step the foot through the hands. And then your back heel plants down and then you walk the hands over toward the middle of the mat, closing in the right foot. Walk your hands toward the front of the mat. Back heel is lifted now. Now the right hand stays rooted on your mat or block. Left hand to the left thigh and then reach the left arm all the way up. The front of the right side of the pelvis might dip in toward the midline. Keep this left knee kind of hugging in and the left side chest can open up. Breathing here. So the pelvis moves first and then the spine and then the upper back, the front side of the chest will open. And then bring the left hand down, downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale here. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Step the foot through the hands. Come on up, crescent lunge, high lunge. Arms reach up, maybe palms together. Front knee is square, back knee is lifted, and then take a peek at your belly button. This will help kind of fill in the waistline in the back body, keeping your core nice and stable and the back of your pelvis broad. Now take the sacrum down a little bit toward your mat. Reach up through the arms, lift up through the chest, take your gaze up and breathe. Inhale. Good, hands come all the way down to your mat. Turn to the right for your straddle forward bend. Keep going to the right. This time, your right foot is still forward. Now take the back knee down. Inhale, reach your arms up. Front knee bends super deep. Reach up through the arms, lift up through the chest. Maybe take your gaze up, big breath in. And then hands come all the way down to your mat. Lift your back knee, step back, down dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, maybe you take a push up or you come all the way down to the mat and take your cobra. Downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, step the foot through the hands. And then walk the hands to the right, straddle forward bend. Walk your hands to the front of the mat. Right knee is now square. Good, reach your arms up. Big breath in. Awesome. Take your hands all the way down to the mat. Step to downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step your foot through your hands. Come on up, high lunge. Big breath in. Good, hands come all the way down to the mat. Walk them to the left, straddle forward bend. Take your hands to the back of the mat. Left knee is bent. Back knee comes down. Arms reach up. Front knee square. And then make sure that you're not really dumping here. There's still a little lift, so you can act like you're dragging your front heel toward the back of your mat. Keep your hips kind of lifted here and then reach up through the fingertips. Hands come back down. Lift your back knee, step back, down dog. Shift forward plank. Maybe take a push up. Maybe come to the belly. Downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step the foot through the hands. Walk your hands to the left, straddle forward bend. Walk your hands forward, plant the hands, step forward, forward fold. Root down into the feet to reach all the way up to the sky. Palms touch, and then hands in front of the heart. Exhale. Okay, step back just a touch here. Shift the weight into the right foot, right leg. Root down into the big toe mound. Now lift the right kneecap to engage the quadriceps on the right leg. Squeeze the right buttocks, hands to the hips. Kick your booty with your left heel and take your left elbow toward your left hip, forearm faces up. From here, lift the shoulder and then take the head of the arm bone back, grab inside the foot. Draw the knees together. They don't need to touch. Right arm reaches up. Now try to keep the right upper arm toward the right ear the whole time, and then kick in to your hand as your fingers reach forward. The kneecap faces down on your lifted leg, and you're breathing. Come back up and release. Other side. Root down into four corners of the left foot. Hands can start at the hips. Lift the left kneecap to engage the front of the thigh. Try to kick your booty. And your left arm can reach up. Right elbow by right hip, forearm faces up, and then take hold of the foot on the inside. Right kneecap faces down, and then we kick into the hand. Hand pulls on foot. Right kneecap still faces down, and left arm is lifted up by the left ear. Breathe. Come back up and release. Good job. Okay, so let's make our way down to our shins. And actually we'll start on our belly. So we're gonna do a few back bends here, and then this will lead us into a bigger back bend. So go ahead, come all the way down to your belly. Take your forehead down on your mat, and then reach your arms back, palms face down. From here, I want you to spin your inner thighs together toward each other so that we can broaden the back of your pelvis. Now walk your legs apart and put more weight toward the pinky toe. Lift your armpits up toward your ears and take the scapula and really squeeze it toward your spine. Interlace the fingers behind the low back. Reach the hands back. Elbows can stay bent. That's going to keep the upper back moving, or working, I should say. And then lift your legs. Lift your arms, lift your chest, lift your head. Gaze is down and forward. And then we extend from the toes all the way through the crown of the head. Big breath in. And then come back down. Flip the forearms up. Take one ear down, shimmy the hips side to side. Okay, from here, I'm going to take floor bow one leg at a time. If you want to go for both legs rubbing onto the feet, go for it. Otherwise, you'll join me for this other variation. So you'll reach the right arm nice and long and come to the finger pads and lift the right elbow. And then you'll bend your left knee and reach for the top of the foot. Now from here, take the armpit up toward the ear on that left side, and then roll the head of the arm bone up and back. This should create a little slack here with the arm. Now kick into the hand as the hand pulls on the foot. Press your thighs kind of down toward each other and then up to the sky. And then press down into the fingertips. Lift your heart, lift your gaze, and then keep kicking in to the hand and breathe. Maybe the right leg lifts. And then slowly lower down. Cross the forearms. Forehead to the back of the hands. So now you'll take round 2 on that floor bow if you want to grab both feet, or extend the left arm out, tent the fingertips. Go ahead, tuck the toes, lift the knees, and think about lifting the pelvis even, and like spiraling those inner thighs together and up toward the sky. Okay, nice broad back. Bend the right knee, reach for the inside of the foot, or actually the outside too could work on this one. And then from here, take the armpit up toward the ear, the arm bone back, kick into the foot pulls on the hand, and then press down into the fingertips. Lift your heart. Look forward, kick, kick, kick. And then slowly release. Hands come underneath the shoulders, press up, tabletop. Inhale, cow, lift the tailbone, lift the gaze. Exhale, round. Cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Come back to the neutral spine, and then sit the booty back toward your heels. Okay, next thing, and you're gonna take this slow. We'll think about moving into Supta Virasana, Reclined Hero Pose. So I'm gonna go ahead and start on a block here, and actually I'm gonna have a bolster here because I know I'm gonna need it. So the block goes in between the feet. Your sits bones are right on the block. And then you can take the hands to the hips and let the hands just guide the pelvis forward. So you want the pubic bone facing down. You could even lift the hips up a little bit, come forward, press the pubic bone down. You should have a nice arch here in the low back. Okay, from here, you could walk your hands back and then just go until you kind of reach your max. So you're pressing your knees down gently into the mat. You're flaring the toes, spreading them as wide as possible to protect the knees. And then your pubic bone's still pressing down. So you do have an arch in your back happening. You're still in this back bend. And then you might just stay here and kind of work on coming down more. You'll keep the heart open, squeeze the scapula toward each other, opening the chest. And if you think you can come back more, you'll slowly lower all the way down. I'm going to remove my my block in order to do that. So if you want to try that, you will need to be able to have your sits bones all the way down onto your mat, along with your knees to go any further. So we lean forward, press the pubic bone down. You could take the thumbs to the top of the femur bones, kind of root them in so they stay in socket, in the hip socket. And then take the shoulders up and back and start to come back. Now, once you are all the way down, go ahead and lengthen the sacrum toward the knee pits. So that's when you can find that nice length in your low back. And I think this is perfect height for me today with the bolster there. You can let the arms be out to the sides or reach them overhead, maybe grabbing opposite elbows. Tuck your chin just a touch, especially if your throat's opening quite a bit. The back of the neck to stay nice and long. Relax your jaw. And if your spine is vertical, that's totally fine. You have to start somewhere. That's where I started. And then through time, you just start to creep back further and further. Let your eyes close. And feel expansion over the entire front side of your body. Now bring the elbows down underneath the shoulders. Tuck the chin and slowly make your way up. And then from here, you'll just come up and make your way to your seat. I'm going to take this block or this bolster back behind me as we set up for plow pose. So go ahead, come all the way down to your back. And this is going to be for my feet, the balls of my feet. So they may or may not touch down. I haven't done this pose for a really long time because of my neck. So let's see how to get into this nice and mindfully. So first, I'm just going to go ahead and bring the knees in to my chest. And then from here, I'm going to reach and walk my fingertips toward the front of my mat. Now pick up the back of the pelvis and then set the back down. From here, take your legs up, and you will need some core strength so that you can, one, get the legs up and over, and two, so that you're using your core for the pose and not dumping into your neck or any other part of your body for this pose. So core strength, legs glued together, inner thighs spin in and press toward the front of the mat. I'm squeezing my shins together and flaring the toes. Legs super strong. Now press down into your forearms and slowly lift the legs. And maybe the feet, the balls of the feet touch down all the way to your mat perhaps, or your bolster or blocks. Maybe they just hang here. Keep squeezing the inner thighs together. You can find a little lift up through the sacrum. Belly button draws to the spine, and I'm definitely not looking around. You might want to use the heels of the hands to support the back of the pelvis, or you might interlace the fingers and reach the arms nice and long. Keep shimmying the shoulder blades together. Breathing. And then maybe you take the heels of the hands to the back of the pelvis if they're not there, keeping the core engaged, and slowly let the legs and the pelvis come back down. Bend the knees, plant the feet. From here, take the soles of the feet together, knees nice and wide, Supta Badakanasana. And we want the low back to feel some love here. So you could pick, as you're pressing your feet together, pick the hips up, and then almost like arch your back. So think about pressing the pubic bone forward and down to bring a little space underneath the low back. You could rest one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. Soften your face. And take a few rounds of breath here to receive your practice. Notice how your body feels now in this moment. And you can certainly make your way to Shavasana or stay in this pose. We'll just be here a few more rounds of breath. Come back to the moment and deepen your breath. If you're in Shavasana, you'll gently hug in one knee and the other toward your chest. And if you're in Supta Badakanasana, take the hands to the outer knees and draw them in to the center. And then knees to the chest, take some circles with the knees, a few in each direction. And grab behind the thighs, maybe rock and roll or roll to one side. And we will meet in a seat, eyes closed, just let the hands rest. Sits bones heavy, and a lightness coming up through the crown of the head. Hold your palms together in front of your heart space and just notice, how do you feel now compared to when we started? Noticing without judgment. Inhale. Exhale. Namaste.